Hi everyone, I'm Tim with the Evermend Wellness Society, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about mental illness today. So, NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, says that about 20% of all people in the U.S. will develop some kind of a mental illness within their lifespan. Doesn't really sound like that much, except for when you break it down to the fractions, 1 in 5. 1 in 5 people in the United States will develop some form of mental illness. World Health Organization throughout the world rates it a little higher, of saying about 1 in 4 people will actually develop some form of mental illness. So my question is, why do we not talk about it? Why do we not teach this in public school systems? We teach other forms of health in public school, physical education, we teach sex education, we teach anatomy, physiology, but we steer completely away from the psychological aspect of people. For some reason, even though as relevant as it is, it's not part of the curriculum. My question is to make people think, why is that? I really don't know the answer to this. Most people aren't exposed to any form of psychological schooling until you get into the higher levels of education of college, and even then most field tracks are not going to really go into it. You might take an intro to psychology, but they're not going to go into mental illnesses so much. They're just going to cover the very basics of theory. So, and there's so many different things that we need to understand with mental illness in order for us to be able to grasp the reality of it. Different cultures, I know, have stereotypes and taboos towards mental illness. They'll think that mental illness is something that they don't get, or because of their heritage. Other times you have people with mental illness who show symptoms differently because of where they were brought up. Different ethnicities show things a little differently. Might show some of the symptoms differently, and this is why I feel that we need to actually start teaching about it earlier on. In elementary school, you have children who are depressed. You have children who do suffer from ADHD, PTSD even. They're being abused in their family, at home or outside the home. And we don't want to even address these issues. I don't know if it's a shame thing that we are afraid of, or if it's just that we would much rather turn away and just say it doesn't exist. The reality is it's there. And having more people understand the symptoms of it can help stem the curve of a growing trend of suicide rates in our nation right now. Every year there's more suicides than the year before. It has been steadily increasing for the past 30 years or so. As we get into higher levels of education, middle school, high school, we can start talking more about other things that children at that age period might actually start to begin to experience, such as schizophrenia, bipolar. They might experience dementia, well, not so much dementia, they might, but they're going to experience maybe having to deal with loss of loved ones, so more of a grieving issue. And my point is that if we don't teach about these things in school, they're not being taught at home. So where do people learn? And they don't. So as one thing I believe we should be doing is pushing for this to be part of the health training that's in school systems. I'm not saying that we have to go into abnormal psychology for the students, but we should at least make them aware of signs, symptoms, causalities of certain mental illnesses. And by doing so, I'm hoping also we can curb the epidemic of addiction in our nation right now as well. Most people who are addicted to substances are doing so as a way to self-medicate because they may not understand what exactly is going on. They may not be able to truly trust anybody to be able to give them a fair shake at what's going on with their minds. They might feel scared to come out and talk to people. They might feel ashamed about it. They feel all sorts of different things other than support, which is what we need to provide them. So as I said with this video, I'm just hoping that maybe we can come together, bring some light on the subject, and start pushing in the direction to where it's no longer a taboo subject in our school systems, because I feel this is something we definitely need to be doing more of. I know when I was growing up, people didn't even realize how depressed I was in high school. And I didn't realize how depressed I was. And that was just because what was depression? It was something that nobody talked about. So how was I supposed to know what I was dealing with? And how was I supposed to know how to get help? These are things that can be easily integrated into the school systems and stop causing such a panic over these topics, because they're basic topics and things that most people deal with in their lives. But again, as I said, for some reason or another, we're not teaching it, and I believe we should. So with that message being said, I ask everybody who can, if you have children in school systems, or if you belong to a PTO, or if you're involved with the education system at all, if you feel that this should be brought up, I implore you to actually start talking to your principals, start talking to the local governments, and see if this can be brought into the school systems, because what we're doing now is not working, and continuing to do what we're doing now will not work. History is proving that to us already, that trying to doing the same pattern over and over and expecting different results, it's not feasible. Albert Einstein said that's the definition of insanity, and he's probably right, because what we're doing is completely insane. So with that message, I ask that you go forth and have those conversations with the people who can make things happen. Try and educate them. Try and push for these in our school systems. And with that, I wish everyone a safe and happy day, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Take care.